Unexpected arrival. The escape pod hurtled through the atmosphere, trailing fire and smoke. Inside, Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper gripped the harness with white-knuckled hands, his eyes squeezed shut against the violent shaking. Warning klaxons blared as the pod's systems fought a losing battle against physics and fate. Come on, Jack muttered through gritted teeth. He'd survived the destruction of his ship. He wasn't about to die now. Not when he was so close to solid ground. With a bone-jarring impact, the pod slammed into the planet's surface. Jack's head snapped forward, then back against the headrest. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, with a hiss of equalizing pressure, the hatch popped open. Acrid smoke filled Jack's lungs as he fumbled with the harness. His hands shook as he pulled himself from the wreckage, collapsing onto soft purple grass. The sky above was a riot of swirling oranges and pinks, two suns hanging low on the horizon. Jack's military training kicked in, urging him to assess his situation despite the pounding in his skull. Survival gear, water, emergency beacon. As Jack rummaged through the pod's storage compartments, movement caught his eye. He froze, slowly turning to face whatever alien life form had come to investigate the crash. What he saw made him blink in disbelief. Emerging from a copse of crystalline trees were figures that looked remarkably human. Tall, life forms with graceful limbs and facial features not unlike his own. But their skin was a pale lavender, shot through with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed gently, and every single one of them appeared to be female. The aliens approached cautiously, chittering to each other in melodic tones. Jack raised his hands slowly, trying to appear non-threatening. "Hello," he said, his voice hoarse. "I come in peace." One of the aliens, taller than the rest with elaborate markings swirling across her skin, stepped forward. She cocked her head, studying Jack with eyes that shimmered like opals. Then, to his amazement, she spoke. "Welcome, Star Traveler," she said, her words clear but accented strangely. "I am Zora, leader of the Luminae. You are safe here." Jack's mind reeled. They could speak his language. How was that possible? Before he could form a response, his legs buckled beneath him. The stress of the crash and the shock of his encounter finally overwhelmed him, and darkness claimed his vision. He awoke to the sound of gentle humming. Jack found himself lying on a soft bed of moss, inside a structure that seemed to be grown from living plants. Sunlight filtered through translucent leaves, bathing everything in a soft, green glow. Zara sat nearby, her fingers dancing over a holographic interface that hovered in the air before her. She noticed Jack stirring and dismissed the display with a wave of her hand. "You are awake," she said, moving to his side. "How do you feel, Star Traveler?" Jack sat up slowly, wincing at the various aches that made themselves known. "I've been better," he admitted, "but I'm alive thanks to you. I'm Jack Harper, by the way. Lieutenant Commander Jack Harper of the Earth Alliance." Zora's opalescent eyes widened slightly. "Earth? We know of this place from ancient stories. It is said to be the birthplace of our ancestors long ago." Jack's eyebrows shot up in surprise. "You're saying humans colonized this world, but that's impossible. We've only just begun to explore beyond our solar system." Zora shook her head, her luminous patterns shifting with the movement. "Not humans as you know them. The Forerunners came here tens of thousands of your years ago, fleeing a great calamity. They adapted to this world, becoming the Luminae. But the males," she trailed off, a shadow passing across her face. "What happened to the males?" Jack asked, a sense of unease growing in his gut. Zara met his gaze, her expression solemn. "They could not adapt as we did. Over generations, their numbers dwindled until only females remained. You are the first male any of us have seen outside of historical records." Jack felt the weight of her words settle over him. He was utterly alone here, the last of his kind on a world of alien women. And yet, these women were descended from his own species. It was almost too much to process. I need to contact my people," Jack said, trying to focus on practical matters. "My ship was destroyed. but there might be other survivors. Do you have any long-range communication technology? Zara's brow furrowed. We have ways of sending messages to the stars, yes. But Jack, there is something you must understand. The journey that brought you here, it was not just through space, but time as well. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean? The region of space your ship entered, it is known to us as the temporal maelstrom. It bends not just the fabric of space, but time itself. By our calculations, you have traveled nearly 10,000 years into the future. The room seemed to spin around Jack as the implications sank in. Everything he had known, everyone he had ever loved, they were all dust, lost to the ages. He was truly, utterly alone. As if sensing his distress, Zara placed a comforting hand on his arm. Her touch was cool, but not unpleasant. I know this must be difficult to accept, she said softly. But you are not without hope, Jack Harper. You are here now, and that must have meaning. Perhaps it is no accident that you have come to us in our time of need. Jack looked up, curiosity momentarily overriding his shock. Your time of need? What's happening? Zara's expression grew grave. Our world faces a crisis that threatens all life. We have long believed that only the return of the Forerunners could save us. And now, against all odds, you have arrived. Jack shook his head, overwhelmed. I'm no savior, he protested. I'm just lost. Zara's lips curved in a gentle smile. Perhaps, but you carry within you the legacy of our ancestors, untouched by time. Who knows what knowledge, what abilities you might possess that could turn the tide. As Jack pondered her words, a commotion outside caught their attention. Zara rose gracefully, moving to the entrance of the living structure. Her posture stiffened as she took in whatever sight greeted her. What is it? Jack asked, pushing himself to his feet. Zara turned back to him, her eyes now filled with a mix of fear and determination. It seems the universe is not done surprising us, Jack Harper. Another has fallen from the stars. Echoes of the past. The alien forest pulsed with an eerie bioluminescence as Jack followed Zara through winding paths. His mind raced, still grappling with the shocking revelation of his temporal displacement. But curiosity about this new arrival pushed those thoughts aside for now. Who do you think it could be? Jack asked, ducking under a low-hanging branch that seemed to reach for him as he passed. Zara's luminous patterns flickered thoughtfully. Another like you, perhaps. Or something far stranger. The temporal maelstrom is known to bring unexpected things. As they neared the crash site, Jack heard voices raised in alarm. Rounding the corner, he saw a group of luminae gathered around a smoldering crater. But what lay within made him stop short, his breath catching in his throat. It wasn't a ship or an escape pod. It was a door. An ornate, freestanding door of dark wood and gleaming metal, incongruously planted in the soft earth as if it had grown there. What in the world? Jack muttered, approaching cautiously. Suddenly, the door swung open with a groan of ancient hinges. A figure stumbled out, coughing and waving away wisps of violet smoke. Jack's eyes widened as he took in the newcomer's appearance. She was human, or appeared to be, dressed in clothing that seemed to be a blend of Victorian fashion and futuristic tech. Brass goggles perched atop her head, and a complex device resembling a steampunk watch was strapped to her wrist. The woman looked around, her eyes wild with a mix of excitement and fear. When she spotted Jack, her face lit up with recognition. "Oh, thank the temporal tides," she exclaimed. "A fellow chrononaut. Tell me, what year have I landed in? Did the Time Wars ever come to pass?" Jack exchanged a bewildered glance with Zara. I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about. I only just arrived here myself. Who are you? The woman's enthusiasm deflated slightly. "Ah, a linear traveler then. My apologies. I am Dr. Amelia Blackwood, temporal anthropologist and refugee from the 43rd century." She extended a gloved hand, which Jack shook hesitantly. "Jack Harper," he replied. former lieutenant commander of the Earth Alliance, and apparently a refugee from the 21st century. Amelia's eyebrows shot up. The 21st? Fascinating. Such a pivotal era. Tell me, has the great caffeine shortage of 2031 occurred yet? Oh, but I shouldn't ask. Temporal Prime Directive and all that. Before Jack could respond, Zara stepped forward. I am Zara, leader of the Luminae. Dr. Blackwood, your arrival is most unexpected. We have never encountered a chrononaut before. Amelia turned her attention to Zara, her eyes widening as she took in the alien's appearance. Extraordinary. A highly advanced offshoot of humanity, if I'm not mistaken. This must be New Avalon, circa 12,000 CE. I was aiming for the Martian resurgence, but temporal navigation can be so tricky. Jack's head was spinning. Hold on, he said, raising a hand. You're saying you can travel through time at will. How is that possible? Amelia grinned, tapping the device on her wrist. Quantum entanglement paired with tachyonic energy manipulation. Simple, really. Well, simple for the 43rd century. For you, it would be like explaining smartphone technology to a medieval peasant. No offense. None taken, Jack muttered, though he felt a twinge of irritation. Zara, however, was leaning in with great interest. This device of yours, could it be used to address the crisis our world faces? Amelia's expression grew serious. That depends on the nature of your crisis, my dear. Temporal manipulation is a dangerous game. One misstep could unravel the very fabric of reality. As Zara began to explain the situation to Amelia, Jack found his attention drawn back to the mysterious door. It stood there, slightly ajar, seeming to beckon him. Against his better judgment, he took a step closer. A cool breeze wafted from the opening, carrying with it the scent of ozone and something indefinably alien. Jack peered into the darkness beyond, curiosity overriding caution. Suddenly, a tendril of violet energy lashed out, wrapping around Jack's wrist. He cried out in surprise, trying to pull away, but the energy held fast. With a violent yank, Jack was pulled through the doorway. He tumbled through a kaleidoscope of fractured realities, catching glimpses of impossible worlds and alternate histories. Dinosaurs roamed futuristic cities. Humans with insectoid features tended gardens of crystalline flowers. Vast fleets of living starships drifted through the void between galaxies. Just as abruptly as it began, the journey ended. Jack found himself sprawled on a cold metal floor, gasping for breath. As his vision cleared, he realized he was in some kind of laboratory. Banks of strange equipment lined the walls, pulsing with otherworldly energy. A figure stood with its back to him, silhouetted against a window that looked out onto a starfield unlike any Jack had ever seen. Slowly, the figure turned. Jack's jaw dropped. He was looking at himself, but not quite. This version of Jack Harper was older, his hair streaked with gray. A cybernetic implant covered one eye, and his right arm was entirely mechanical. The other Jack smiled, but there was no warmth in the expression. "Welcome, Lieutenant Commander," he said, his voice a rougher version of Jack's own. "I've been waiting a very long time for this moment." "Who? What are you?" Jack managed to ask, struggling to his feet. "I'm you," the cybernetic Jack replied. "Or rather, I'm what you become after centuries of fighting a war across time itself. I'm the one who can finally end it all." He gestured to a massive device dominating the center of the lab. It hummed with barely contained power, arcs of temporal energy dancing across its surface. "This machine can rewrite history on a cosmic scale," Cyberjack explained. "With it, I can erase the Luminae from existence, preventing the catastrophe that leads to the Time Wars. But to power it, I need something special." His artificial eye fixed on Jack. "I need the quantum signature of my younger self." Jack took a step back, his mind reeling. "You're insane. I won't help you commit genocide." Cyberjack's smile turned cruel. "Oh, you don't have a choice. The process has already begun the moment you stepped through that door. Soon, you'll be nothing but fuel for a better future. As if on cue, Jack felt a searing pain course through his body. He fell to his knees, crying out as he felt his very essence being drained away. But even as darkness crept into the edges of his vision, Jack's mind raced. There had to be a way out of this. He couldn't let this twisted version of himself succeed. The fate of not just the Luminae, but all of time itself hung in the balance. With the last of his strength, Jack lunged for the nearest console, his fingers scrambling for any control that might disrupt the process. As his consciousness faded, he heard Cyberjack's enraged shout, felt the loud shake around him, and then silence. Quantum entanglement. Jack's eyes snapped open, his heart racing. He found himself back in the alien forest of New Avalon, the mysterious door nowhere in sight. Zara and Dr. Amelia Blackwood were kneeling beside him, concern etched on their faces. "Jack, thank the temporal tides, you're back," Amelia exclaimed, her steampunk goggles whirring as they scanned him. "You were quantum-facing in and out of reality. I've never seen anything like it." Zora's luminous patterns pulsed with worry. "We feared we had lost you, Jack. What happened?" As Jack recounted his encounter with his cybernetic future self, Amelia's expression grew grave. "This is worse than I thought," she muttered. "It seems the time wars have already begun, and they're centering around you, Jack." "But why me?" Jack asked, striving to sit up. "I'm just a regular guy from the 21st century. I don't know anything about time travel or quantum mechanics." Amelia shook her head. "It's not about what you know, it's about what you are. Your quantum signature is unique, a linchpin in the temporal continuum. In the wrong hands, it could be used to rewrite history itself." Zara looked between them, her opalescent eyes wide. "This threat, is it connected to the crisis our world faces?" "I believe so," Amelia replied. "The Luminae's existence is likely a crucial point in the timeline. Erasing you would have far-reaching consequences across all of time and space." Jack's mind reeled as he tried to process it all. "So what do we do? How do we stop, well, me?" Amelia tapped her temporal device thoughtfully. "We need to stabilize the quantum fluctuations and protect your timeline. But to do that, we'll need technology that doesn't exist yet." She turned to Zara. "Unless, you mentioned the Luminae have ancient Forerunner technology." Zara nodded slowly. "Yes, in the Forbidden Archives, but accessing them is dangerous. The security systems are alive, in a sense, and not entirely sane after millennia of isolation." "It's our only chance," Jack said, pushing himself to his feet. "We have to try." As they made their way through the bioluminescent forest, Jack couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The trees seemed to bend towards them, their crystalline leaves vibrating with an unsettling frequency. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet began to shift. What they had thought was solid earth transformed into a writhing mass of tentacle-like roots. They burst upwards, entangling the trio and lifting them high into the air. "The forest," Zara cried out. "It's protecting the archives." Jack struggled against the organic bonds, but they only tightened. Then, to his amazement, the roots began to glow. Pulses of light raced along their length, forming intricate patterns that reminded him of computer circuitry. Amelia's eyes widened in recognition. "It's not just a security system," she breathed. "It's a bio-organic supercomputer. The entire forest is one massive, living machine." As if responding to her words, the forest pulsed brighter. A holographic display shimmered into existence before them, depicting strange symbols and diagrams that hurt Jack's eyes to look at directly. Zara gasped. "It's communicating, asking for authorization." "Quick," Amelia hissed. "What's the Luminae equivalent of Open Sesame?" Despite the gravity of the situation, Jack couldn't help but roll his eyes. "Really? Ancient alien supercomputer, and you go with Open Sesame?" But to everyone's surprise, the forest responded. The symbols on the holographic display rearranged themselves, forming a message in a language Jack could somehow understand. HFY purpose of HCCS. Zara spoke quickly, her voice filled with urgency. To save our people and protect the timeline. There was a moment of tense silence. Then, the forest erupted into a dazzling light show. The roots gently lowered them to the ground as a hidden entrance revealed itself in a nearby hillside. "I can't believe that worked," Jack muttered as they cautiously approached the opening. Amelia grinned. "Never underestimate the power of a good catchphrase, darling." As they entered the forbidden archives, Jack's jaw dropped. The cavernous space was filled with technology beyond his wildest imagination. Holographic interfaces floated in midair, displaying data in 4 dimensions. Machines that seemed to phase in and out of reality hummed with power, and at the center of it all stood a massive crystal structure, pulsing with an inner light. "The quantum nexus," Zara whispered reverently, "the heart of Forerunner technology." Amelia rushed to a nearby console, her fingers flying over the controls. "This is incredible. With this, we might be able to not only protect Jack's timeline, but also unravel the mystery of the Luminae's impending crisis." As Amelia worked, Jack felt a strange tingling sensation wash over him. He looked down at his hands and gasped. His body was becoming translucent, facing in and out of reality. "Ugh, guys," he called out, his voice echoing strangely. "I think we have a problem." Zara turned, her eyes widening in alarm. "Jack, you're quantum shifting again." Amelia spun around, her face pale. "The temporal instability is getting worse. We're running out of time." Just then, a familiar figure materialized in the center of the room. Cyberjack, his mechanical eye glowing ominously. "You can't stop what's coming," he growled. "The time wars are inevitable, and I will win, no matter the cost." As Cyberjack raised his cybernetic arm, now transformed into a terrifying weapon, Jack felt himself being pulled in multiple directions at once. Past, present, and future collided in a maelstrom of quantum possibilities. In that moment of temporal chaos, Jack saw glimpses of potential futures. The Luminae evolving into beings of pure energy. Earth reduced to a barren wasteland. Humanity spreading across the stars, guided by the wisdom of the Forerunners. And through it all, a single constant, himself, fighting an endless war across time. With a surge of determination, Jack pushed back against the quantum currents, threatening to tear him apart. He focused on the here and now, on the friends he had made, and the world he wanted to protect. "No," he said, his voice gaining strength. "The future isn't set. We make our own destiny." As Jack's quantum state stabilized, a shockwave of temporal energy burst forth from his body. Cyberjack stumbled back, his cybernetic systems shorting out. Amelia shouted triumphantly from the console. "That's it, Jack. Your quantum signature is the key. Quick, touch the nexus." Without hesitation, Jack pressed his hand against the pulsing crystal. Energy surged through him, and for a moment, he could see the entire timeline of the universe laid out before him. In that instant of cosmic awareness, Jack understood what needed to be done. With a thought, he rewrote the quantum equations governing his own existence, removing himself as the linchpin of the time wars. Cyberjack let out a howl of anguish as he began to fade from existence. "What have you done?" he cried. "Changing the future," Jack replied calmly, "and the past, giving us all a chance at a better tomorrow." As Cyberjack vanished, the quantum nexus pulsed with newfound power. Holographic displays throughout the archives came to life, revealing the true nature of the crisis facing the Luminae and how to solve it. Zara's eyes filled with tears of joy. "You've done it, Jack. You've saved us all." But even as they celebrated, a new alert flashed across the screens. The temporal distortions caused by the time wars had weakened the fabric of reality. New threats were emerging from the cracks between dimensions. Jack exchanged determined looks with Zara and Amelia. Their adventure, it seemed, was far from over, but now they faced it not just as allies, but as friends united across time and space. "Well," Jack said with a grin, "I guess it's time for some interdimensional diplomacy. Who's with me?" Cosmic convergence. The quantum nexus hummed with otherworldly energy as Jack, Zara, and Amelia stood before a shimmering portal. The interdimensional rift pulsed with swirling colors never before seen by human or Lumini eyes. "Remember," Amelia cautioned, adjusting her steampunk goggles, "we're not just exploring parallel universes, we're cosmic peacekeepers now." Jack nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. "Right. Prevent interdimensional war, save all of reality, no pressure." Zora's bioluminescent patterns flickered with determination. "We are the first interdimensional diplomatic corps. We must not fail." As they stepped through the portal, reality itself seemed to fracture and reassemble around them. They emerged into a breathtaking sight, the cosmic nexus, a colossal space station suspended at the intersection of multiple universes. The station's architecture defied conventional physics, with impossible geometries and rooms that were bigger on the inside than the outside. Beings from countless realities milled about, some humanoid, others utterly alien. "Welcome, travelers, to the heart of the multiverse," a melodious voice echoed in their minds. A being of pure energy approached, its form constantly shifting between different states of matter. "I am Xin-Ra, keeper of the cosmic nexus," it continued. "Your arrival was foreseen, though the outcome remains uncertain." Before they could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Holographic displays materialized, showing scenes of chaos across multiple dimensions. "The Void Titans have awakened," Sin-Ray intoned gravely. "Ancient beings that feed on entire realities. They seek to unravel the cosmic tapestry itself." Jack's mind reeled at the scale of the threat. How do we stop something that eats universes for breakfast? Amelia's eyes lit up with scientific curiosity. "Perhaps we could create a quantum entanglement field too." She was cut off as a massive tentacle of dark energy smashed through a nearby wall. Void Titans, each the size of a small planet, loomed in the space beyond the nexus. "Talk later, run now," Jack shouted, grabbing Zara and Amelia as they sprinted through the chaos. They raced through a dizzying series of dimensional shortcuts, glimpsing wonders and horrors from across the multiverse. In one reality, sentient stars engaged in philosophical debates. In another, microscopic civilizations waged war across the subatomic landscape of a single atom. As they emerged onto a crystalline observation deck, they came face to face with a squad of chronotroopers, soldiers unstuck in time, their bodies flickering between past and future versions of themselves. "Halt," the lead trooper commanded, her voice echoing from multiple temporal states at once. "By order of the Trans-Temporal Tribunal, you are under arrest for crimes against causality." "Oh, come on," Jack groaned. "We're trying to save reality here." Zara stepped forward, her form radiating an aura of calm authority. "There has been a misunderstanding. We are diplomats, not criminals." The chronotroopers wavered, their temporal fluctuations slowing. But before the situation could be resolved, a deafening roar shook the station. A Void Titan had breached the Nexus's outer defenses. In that moment of crisis, Jack had an epiphany. "Wait, we're thinking about this all wrong. We can't fight the Void Titans, we need to communicate with them." Amelia looked at him like he'd gone mad. Communicate? With universe-devouring cosmic horrors? "Trust me," Jack insisted. He turned to the chronotroopers. "We need your help. Can you temporally displace us into the past of a Void Titan?" The lead trooper hesitated, then nodded. "It's never been attempted, but theoretically possible." What followed was the strangest journey of Jack's life. They were catapulted through the time stream, witnessing the birth of galaxies and the death of stars. Finally, they materialized in the primordial soup of a young universe. Before them floated a small, almost cute creature of swerving energy, a baby Void Titan. "Now what?" Zara whispered. Jack took a deep breath and reached out mentally, drawing on the lingering connection he had with the quantum nexus. To his astonishment, the infant Titan responded. Images flooded his mind. The loneliness of drifting through empty cosmos, the hunger for connection mistaken for physical sustenance. The Void Titans weren't evil, they were lost and afraid. They're not trying to destroy reality, Jack gasped. They're looking for a way home. Amelia's eyes widened in realization. Of course, they're not native to our dimensional plane. They're trying to get back to their own realm. Working together, they use the Chrono Trooper's temporal tech and Zora's innate connection to the universe to craft a message. A cosmic lullaby of quantum harmonies, carrying the coordinates to the Void Titan's home dimension. As the message rippled across time and space, the attack on the cosmic nexus ceased. The Void Titans began to withdraw, slipping between the cracks of reality towards their long-lost home. Back in the present, Sinray approached the exhausted team. "You have done the impossible," it said, its energy form pulsing with what might have been awe. "You have brought peace to the multiverse." Jack smiled warily. All in a day's work for the interdimensional diplomatic corps. But even as they celebrated their victory, a new alert chimed on Amelia's temporal device. "Oh," she muttered. "We're not done yet. There's a massive chronal disturbance building. Something big is coming." Zora peered at the readings, her bioluminescent patterns flashing with concern. "These energy signatures, they're like nothing I've ever seen." A hush fell over the cosmic nexus as a colossal shape began to materialize in the space between universes. It was a ship, if you could call it that, a vessel of impossible scale and complexity. As the mysterious craft fully emerged, a booming voice echoed across all frequencies and through every mind. "Atn denizens of THEMULTIVERSE. We are THEFO or runners, and we AKV are right to our end." Jack, Zara, and Amelia exchanged looks of shock and wonder. The greatest adventure of all time and space was only just beginning. Echoes of eternity. The Forerunner ship loomed over the cosmic nexus, its hull shimmering with fractal patterns that hurt the eyes to look at directly. Jack, Zara, and Amelia stood transfixed, their minds struggling to comprehend the sheer magnitude of what they were witnessing. "Impossible," Amelia whispered, her steampunk goggles whirring frantically as they tried to analyze the vessel. "The Forerunners are supposed to be extinct." Zora's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with a mix of awe and trepidation. "Our oldest legends speak of their return, but I never truly believed." Before anyone could react further, a beam of prismatic light engulfed them. Jack felt a sensation of weightlessness, then found himself standing in what could only be described as the bridge of the Forerunner ship. The chamber defied conventional geometry, with surfaces that seemed to fold in on themselves infinitely. Holographic displays floated everywhere, showing real-time data from across the multiverse. And at the center of it all stood a being that radiated power and ancient wisdom. "Welcome, children of time," the Forerunner spoke, its voice resonating on multiple levels of reality simultaneously. "I am Aeon, last of the Chrono Architects. We have watched your struggles from beyond the veil of eternity." Jack stepped forward, his heart pounding. "Why have you returned now? Where have you been all this time?" Aeon's form shifted, becoming more comprehensible to their limited perceptions. "We ventured beyond the boundaries of your multiverse, seeking to understand the true nature of existence. But in doing so, we inadvertently set in motion events that threaten all of creation." With a wave of its hand, Aeon conjured a cosmic map unlike anything they had ever seen. It showed not just their own multiverse, but an infinite array of multiverses, all interconnected in a vast, pulsating web. "Behold the omniverse," Aeon intoned, "the totality of all possible realities, but it is dying." The map zoomed in, revealing cracks spreading across the cosmic framework. Entire universes were winking out of existence, consumed by an encroaching darkness. "The entropy wave," Aeon explained. A cascade of uncreation triggered by our explorations. It spreads across the omniverse, unmaking reality faster than it can be born. Soon, it will reach your multiverse. Amelia's scientific mind raced with the implications. But that's heat death on a cosmic scale. How can we possibly stop it? Zara, drawing on the collective knowledge of the Luminae, gasped in realization. The quantum nexus, it's not just a power source, it's a seed of creation itself. Aeon nodded approvingly. Precisely. The nexus is a fragment of the primordial force that birthed the omniverse. With it, we can rewrite the fundamental laws of reality and halt the entropy wave. But we cannot do it alone. Jack felt the weight of countless realities settling on his shoulders. What do you need us to do? You three represent the perfect fusion of past, present, and future, Aeon said. Jack, with his untapped potential and adaptability. Zara, carrying the living memory of an entire civilization. And Amelia, with her mastery of temporal science. Together, you can navigate the continuum labyrinth and reach the heart of creation. Before they could process this monumental task, alarms blared throughout the ship. The cosmic map flickered, showing a new threat emerging from the cracks between realities. Chronivores, Aeon growled, parasites that feed on distorted timelines. They seek to devour the quantum nexus and accelerate the entropy wave. The ship shuddered as swarms of chronivores, creatures that seemed to be made of living temporal energy, assaulted its defenses. We'll hold them off, Aeon declared. You must reach the labyrinth. The fate of all existence depends on it. With a gesture, Aeon opened a portal of swirling chronometric energy. Jack, Zara, and Amelia exchanged determined looks before leaping through. They emerged in a realm beyond imagination. The continuum labyrinth was a non-Euclidean maze that twisted through the very fabric of space-time. Pathways of crystallized moments branched in impossible directions, while bubbles of alternate histories floated past. Okay, Jack said, trying to orient himself in the chaos. Any ideas on how to navigate this place? Amelia consulted her temporal devices, which were going haywire in the bizarre environment. Conventional physics are meaningless here. We need to think outside of time itself. Zara closed her eyes, reaching out with her Luminae senses. I can feel echoes of our own timelines. Perhaps if we follow them. As they made their way deeper into the labyrinth, they faced mind-bending challenges that tested the very limits of their comprehension. A chamber where cause and effect were reversed, forcing them to experience events backwards. A nexus point where infinite versions of themselves converged, requiring perfect synchronization to pass through. A temporal whirlpool that threatened to scatter their constituent atoms across eons. But with each obstacle overcome, they grew stronger, their minds expanding to encompass new dimensions of understanding. Finally, they reached the heart of creation, a singularity of pure possibility, swirling with the potential of countless realities. The quantum nexus pulsed in resonance with it, growing brighter with each passing moment. Now what? Jack asked, his voice echoing strangely in the timeless void. Amelia's eyes gleamed with sudden insight. We need to synchronize our quantum signatures with the heart, become one with the source of all reality. Zara nodded, her bioluminescence reaching a blinding intensity. Together, we can rewrite the cosmic code and seal the cracks in the omniverse. As chronivores breached the outer edges of the labyrinth, Jack, Zara, and Amelia joined hands. They focused their minds, merging their consciousnesses with the infinite potential of the heart of creation. In that eternal moment, they became one with the omniverse itself. They saw the grand tapestry of existence, every life, every world, every possibility, and understood their place within it. With a thought that resonated across all of reality, they reshaped the fundamental constants of the cosmos. The entropy wave was halted, the chronivores banished, and the cracks in the omniverse began to heal. As their expanded awareness faded, and they found themselves back on the Forerunner ship, Jack, Zara, and Amelia knew they were forever changed. They had glimpsed the true nature of reality and played a part in its salvation. Aeon approached, its form now radiating with renewed energy. "You have done the impossible. The Omniverse is saved, and a new age of cosmic harmony can begin." But even as they celebrated their victory, a final alert chimed on Amelia's temporal device. Her eyes widened as she read the message. "Oh my," she breathed. "It seems our actions have had some unexpected consequences. The boundaries between dimensions are more permeable than ever. New forms of life and consciousness are emerging across the Omniverse." Zora's bioluminescent patterns swirled with excitement. A new era of exploration and discovery. Jack grinned, feeling the thrill of endless possibilities. "Well, team, it looks like the interdimensional diplomatic cause has its work cut out for it. Who's ready for our next adventure?" As they looked out at the vast, renewed Omniverse, teeming with untold wonders and challenges, one thing was certain: their greatest journey was only just beginning. The end, or is it just the beginning?